become aware of the opportunities. And I think it's no one better to enlighten us on this topic than Councilwoman Jan Perry, who was part of revitalization of downtown Los Angeles, part of South Los Angeles, and still is committed on a daily and weekly basis on making sure that these resources are properly assessed and given, to our community, and that you are aware. So once again, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Councilwoman Jan Perry. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. How's this volume? Is this okay?
Yes.
I am Jan Perry, and I recently finished running for mayor of the city of Los Angeles. And just to give you some context, the African American population in the context of the city is 16% of the entire population. We're a city of roughly 5 million people in a county of roughly 10 million people. I am only the second African American woman to have ever been elected to a city office. And Rita Walters was the first. I am the second. I was the first black woman to be the pro tempore of the Los Angeles City Council. This city is over 230 years old. So I say this to you not to brag or extol my own virtues, but to put it in context of where we stand. Now, I want to tell you about economic development, and I can give you the stats, and our moderator gave you some of the information about what I was able to accomplish over the last 12 years and to build 5,600 units of mixed income, affordable, and permanent supportive housing. That's great. I worked on the exposition line, was the chairwoman. We needed that to connect our city together and to build a city so that even if we don't get out of our cars, our children will get out of their cars. And to put people back to work. Put people back to work to the tune of 90,000 net new jobs over the last 12 years, and to generate more money for our own general fund. How does that affect you? Because it enables us to provide services to you, the basics, picking up your trash, trimming your trees, cleaning your streets, painting your streets. Those are the things that you pay your taxes for. But what drives me is a deep, deep, deep love for people, a love for community, and to show that I am, as an African American woman, capable of representing not only my people, but everyone's people. And that is the root of how you get to economic development. We have to examine ourselves first and our sense of obligation to others. And then we have to ask, what sort of leadership do we exercise, and what type of leadership will we support in the future? The day after the election, I sit next to Bernard Parks in the city council, and he's the chief no matter what. And the chief gave me a long lecture on command leadership presence, and he said, leaders, commanders, they have to make choices. And even when you don't want to, you have to make a choice. And I did. And I decided to choose the gentleman who will be with you this afternoon, and he will outline his agenda for the black community. But let me tell you about us. 2 stories. About the kids at the University of Southern California, my alma mater. And I was there the other night at the Galen Center. And the difference between now and then is these children, who could be our children. I have a 22-year-old daughter. She happens to go to USC. They're the embodiment of our dreams and our aspirations. The leader of the group stood up and said, my name is, I'm not going to say her name, she said, I'm a Phi Beta Kappa. She gave her resume, and she said, I was put on the ground with the handcuffs behind my back. And some of you may be aware of the story. The media hasn't covered it very much. But these are children who are doing exactly what we asked them to do. Asked them to do, and we need to support them because they are the future of our economic development agenda, and they are already in good schools. They have already bought into the program, and yet, they are still differentiated when they are out there in the community amongst everyone else. That's one thing. And the second point I want to make to you, and I feel this very strongly, I'm very fortunate. As a daughter of a World War II veteran, my mother played the organ in an ice skating rink to try to keep our family together. They both went on to become mayors back in Ohio. And we didn't have a lot of money, but when I was born in 1955, and if you had parents, and a lot of us had parents like that. So you just get up and don't go out here with ashy knees. You need to learn how to speak properly, and your clothes are clean, and you can carry yourself, stand up straight, all those things. I carry those lessons with me every day. So when I'm with other African American people who are middle class and we talk about economic development and politics, let me just lay it out to you like this. For my black brothers and sisters who are fortunate and have political access and have contracts and have concessions at places like the airport or contracts with the harbor and are going to get something. They're going to get something depending on who they help get elected. And I say, good for you. God bless you because you've already crossed the bridge. But then there are also people like me, and there are other people out here. We went to school, we did what we're supposed to do. And you know what? We'll find a measure of success, but success can be defined in many ways. And one of the ways you define success is you reach back and you pull, you drag, you push, you take other people with you. I sat the other night, and I'm not going to say where it was, but it was on Adams, across from Home United Methodist Church, and, with a room full of very well-heeled, very highly educated, professional, highly successful black men, and I was there with, speaking on behalf of my candidate, and what I was told, one man whispered in my ear, "This is a house divided." And I said, okay. And then as I looked around the room and I realized why it was divided is because some of y'all are already getting something, okay? And like I said, that's okay. That's good. Good for you. Because you know what? That's what we wanted you to do. But the other half of the room had a broader vision. A broader vision. We don't forget Mayor Bradley. We love Mayor Bradley. And even for those of you who are too young to remember Mayor Bradley, older ones should remind you and teach you. When I'm guessing people who are under 40, all they know is what their parents told them about Mayor Bradley. They don't remember Mayor Bradley. Mayor Bradley is the reason we have a skyline. Mayor Bradley is the reason we have a transportation system. Mayor Bradley is the reason that we're still talking about diversity. He's the reason. We build on that, we never forget it. But what we have to do is to move forward with an economic development agenda. And how do we move forward? We move forward with technology. These children the other night, they brought me to tears, not because they told the story, because everybody had a smartphone. They made a video so that no one could dispute what they were telling. This is the real truth to power. So we have to build an economic development agenda that supports the ones who are getting some good. Get your contracts, get your concessions, get your Marlton Square, whatever you're going to get. God bless you. But I'm with these kids. This is who I'm with. Because they're going to take us to the future. People like Barack Obama will take us towards the future. The tide has shifted under our feet. We need to recognize that it is right in front of us. We need to lean into it. We need to move with it. We need to build a Crenshaw line with a stop at Leimert Park so that we will bring tourists from all over the world to see our iconic African American village. We need to experience leadership and we need to define our own leadership. Now, what's important is this. Yes, you know what? You'll hear any elected official say public transportation, housing for public transportation, better schools, more housing, project labor agreements. I mean, quite frankly, what idiot wouldn't say that? And what Democrat wouldn't say that? But what you need to look for is the politician or the elected official, the person who will choose to do the right thing and to embrace the African American community beyond bromides and endorsements and charming stories, but embrace it and evidence a deep understanding what that person or what I choose to do for you and my community when no one is watching, and to put the needs of the community even before the advancement of one's own personal political agenda. Once you understand that, You read closely, you Google, you talk to people, you go to meetings like this, you go to block club meetings, you go and hear what Pastor Boyd has to say, Congresswoman has to say, Dr. Karenga, you always inspire me, and Starlet's sister, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Dr. Quarles. Dr. Quarles, all right. Smack me for that later. Yes, you open my eyes and to the president. This has become a tremendous place of learning and the crossroads of the community and the students. But we won't have an economic development agenda until you start to examine yourselves and start to question. Let's get beyond, well, you know, so-and-so's got this, so-and-so's got a Starbucks, you know, such and such is going to do the Marlton Square, you know, Mary Jo's got the concessions at the airport. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those kids, those Phi Beta Kappa African-American kids who've done exactly what we've asked them to do. And now how are we going to push them forward?